Usually tell traditional folk tales, legends, mythology from all around the world, from many different cultures. And today, this morning, I would like to tell you a story that comes from the Middle East. Yes, a story that you might find being told in Morocco and in India, but it's told in many parts of the Middle East. And it's the story of a young woman, and her name is Fatima. Can you say?
Fatima.
Fatima. This is the story, but why are some words very big and other words are very small?
Maybe some words is very important for the story.
Yes. If a word is repeated many times, it comes out big. If you hear the story one time in the story, for example, want, it's very small. So the important words may be the bigger words. Okay, so you've got Fatima, China, Emperor. You know the Emperor, like the great ruler, great king. You've got the seashore. So the seashore and the sea is very important in this story. Do you know the word tent poles? Tent poles. You know a tent, when you go camping, the pole, is to hold up the tent.
Pointing.
No, it's a punt. But the pole is to hold up the tent, for example. Can you see the word wrecked? Wrecked. Wrecked. Can you repeat?
Wrecked.
When a ship is sailing on the sea and the ship hits maybe a rock, or the ship goes down. This is a wreck. Okay, Daniela? And then you've got words like spinner. Spinner. So if you spin something, you may be spinning material. You've got places like Alexandria. Do you know this city?
Egypt.
Yes, in Egypt. Istanbul? Turkey, of course you do. And then, there's other important words like ship or father. So these are some of the important ideas in the story, and I'm going to tell you the story. But before I tell you the story, please ask me questions to find out what happened in the story. So ask about the events of the story. Find out as much as you can. I'm only going to give you 2 minutes to find out as much information as possible, and then you're going to imagine the story, and then I'm going to tell you. Is it clear?
Okay.
Who's going to time 2 minutes? Have you got a phone? So Daniela, can you time 2 minutes? And at the end of the 2 minutes, Daniela, please say stop. Okay. So you have to ask me as many questions, but listen to my answers. Don't ask about the description, ask about the events, what happens in the story, and listen to my answers. Okay, Daniela, you've got 2 minutes. Go.
Is Fatima married?
No, Fatima is not married. At the beginning of the story, she's a young woman who lives with her father.
There is a journey today trip.
There's a long journey. The story begins in Morocco and finishes in China. So it's a long journey.
Is a poor woman or a rich woman?
Sometimes she's, at the end of the story, she's rich.
Okay.
But there are times in the story when she has nothing, when she has lost everything. So this is a story of ups and downs.
Yeah.
Does she fall in love with something?
No, she doesn't fall in love.
Anyone dies in the story?
Yes, her father. Her father drowns in the sea because of the ship is wrecked, and her father drowns. Her father dies. She loses everything.
His father is a trader.
Her father is a trader. Her father sells rope. You know rope?
Yes.
Her father sells rope and he loses his life.
And Fatima was with him on the same.
Yes, but she survived and ended up near Alexandria. And there she meets some people who make cloth. They're weavers. They weave cloth.
Fatima has brothers and sisters.
No, she doesn't have brothers and sisters.
His mom is still alive.
I don't know.
What is the-
She became prisoner.
She became a slave. You know slave?
Yeah.
You have to work for nothing.
Yes.
She became a slave. So sometimes she was a prisoner, like a slave, yeah.
Does she lost his property?
Yes, she loses everything, but at the end of the story, everything is fine.
How?
Oh, don't stop. You got a lot of information in 2 minutes. Well done. So now, 2, 2, 2, 2, 3. Please tell the story that you think I'm going to tell. You can begin. Once there was a girl called Fatima. Okay? Please.
Escape.
But what happened when she arrived at the shore? Probably she was
China.
This story was collected by a famous writer. His name is Idris Shah. And Idris Shah was born in Afghanistan. But when he was a boy, he came to the UK with his family and he studied and worked in the UK. And he collected a lot of stories and a lot of wisdom and beliefs and traditions from the Middle East and published many books about Middle Eastern stories. And this is one of the stories that he collected. This is a very old story, hundreds of years old. And just to begin, please say after me, everything is lost.
Everything is lost.
Why is this happening to me?
Why is this happening to me?
Story, story.
Story.
Once there was a young woman, her name was Fatima. She lived with her father, and her father was a spinner. Her father made the most wonderful rope, strong, fine rope. He taught his daughter everything he knew. And one day he said, Fatima, now we have enough rope. I will sail away on a ship and I will sell my rope on the sea. She said, Father, you have taught me how to make rope. Now teach me how to trade. I will come with you. Well, and his daughter came on the ship and away they sailed from the coast of Morocco and away across the Middle Sea. From island to island, they were selling the strong, fine rope. But then, off the coast of Crete, the wind began to blow. The thunder crashed. A storm. Their ship was carried high on the waves. The ship hit rocks and capsized and was wrecked. And Fatima's father lost his life. Fatima herself was washed onto the seashore. She walked alone, empty-handed. She said, everything is lost. Why is this happening to me? Finally, she came to a village. The people in the village welcomed her. They were friendly. These people were weavers. They had looms on which they wove strong cloth, and they sold the cloth in the port city of Alexandria. There, the cloth was used to make sails for the ships. They fed Fatima, they gave her a home, they taught her how to weave cloth. After time had passed, she began to feel this was her new home, her new family. But after she had been there for a year, a ship came on shore. And this was a ship of slavers. They took Fatima onto their ship and sailed away. She was a prisoner, a slave. They arrived in the great city of Istanbul. And there, Fatima in the market was to be sold into slavery. As she stood there in the marketplace, she said,
Everything is lost.
Why is this happening to me? Now, in that market, there was a merchant. He was a maker of ship's masts. You know, the wooden mast of a ship to hold the sail. And he saw this young woman and he felt sorry. He paid the slave seller and he took her home. But Fatima, you will not be my slave. You will be a companion for my wife. And together Fatima lived with his wife, and it was a good life. But one day this maker of masts received bad news. His ship of masts had been seized by pirates, and he had lost everything. Fatima, I am no longer a rich man. I cannot look after you. You must go free. No, she said. Let me help you. You have been kind to me. Teach me how to make wooden masts, and we will make masts together. Well, they began to work. This mast maker showed Fatima how to turn a long length of wooden timber into a fine mast by working it, shaping it, carving it. Together they made the finest masts in the whole of Istanbul. And at the end of the year, when enough masts had been made, he said to her, Fatima, you have worked well for me. Please, will you be my agent? I will remain here with my wife, but you will sail with our new ship across the sea to India. You will sell our masts. What do you say? It is an honor, said Fatima. I will do this gladly. I will return with money to share. And Fatima said goodbye, and she sailed away on that ship with a cargo of wooden masts. The distance was long. Finally they came to India, and there on the coast of India, Fatima in every city began to sell masts. She was doing well and making a good profit. Many masts had been sold, and now they sailed on towards China. But you know, another wind blew stronger than before. A typhoon. The ship of masts was washed high, rising on one wave, crashing down on the next. There was great danger. Fatima remembered her father's death. She did not want to die. Fatima took one wooden mast and tied herself to the mast. The ship was wrecked, and Fatima, holding on to that single mast, was carried onto the shore of China. She untied herself from the mast and stood there alone.
Everything is lost.
Everything is lost.
Why is this happening to me? Now, at that time in China, the emperor was strong. He had a great empire. And one night he had a dream. In the morning, the emperor came to his advisors and he said, last night I dreamed that I could make a palace that would travel with me. Everywhere I travel in China, this palace will come with me. Make this palace for me. And his advisor said, to travel with a palace? This is impossible. In my dream, said the emperor, there was a young woman from a distant land. She knows how to do this. She has the secret. Find her. Well, messengers were sent away from the emperor's home across China in all directions to search for this strange young woman. And you know that one of those messengers met Fatima down near the shore. Who are you? Well, she told him, come with me. She was presented to the Emperor of China himself. Your name is Fatima. Tell me, can you make a palace for me? that I can travel with all around China? A palace that can travel, thought Fatima. Then she began to remember when she had been in North Africa and in Istanbul, she had seen many rich people who travelled with wonderful tents, magnificent big tents. Perhaps I could make a wonderful tent for the emperor. I will try my best, said Fatima. Please, bring rope for me. Well, rope was brought, but Fatima looked at the rope and she said, this rope is not strong enough. Please, bring me flax so I can make rope. Well, good flax was brought and Fatima began to spin. She remembered what her father had showed her, but she needed help. She was a teacher to the workers of the emperor. She showed them how to spin, and after many months, they had made so much strong, fine rope. Now, said Fatima to the emperor, I need strong cloth. Bring cloth for me. But the cloth that was brought was not strong enough. And Fatima said, I will make cloth. And she built a loom. And she began to weave cloth. She was a teacher to the workers of the emperor. She showed them how to make the strongest sailcloth. Well, this cloth was not for a sail. This was cloth for a tent. And after many months, enough cloth had been made. And she said, now bring for me tall wooden poles. But when those wooden poles were brought, Fatima said, these are not strong enough. These are not tall enough. Bring for me wood from the tallest trees. So the tallest trees were cut down, the timber was prepared, and Fatima began to make masts. She remembered what she had learned from the mast maker of Istanbul. With all her skills, she made strong masts, and the workers of the emperor helped her. And when those masts, or tent poles, had been made, Fatima thought. She remembered those tents. And she put that rope, that cloth, those poles together. And before long, with help, she had made a magnificent tent, like a palace. The wind blew and the tent moved gently in the breeze. Ask the emperor to come. Well, when the emperor of China came, he saw this palace. This is wonderful. He stepped inside. It was decorated with red and gold. Marvelous. This is better than my dreams, Fatima. This palace can travel with me as I work my way around my lands. Fatima, you have made my dream come true. Now I ask you, can I make your dreams come true? Ask for what you want, and I will give it to you. Fatima looked at the Emperor of China. O great Emperor, all I want is a home. In many lands I have travelled. Many times I have lost what I had. Here can I stay with you in your land. I just want to be at home here. Perhaps I can work here, be a teacher for your people. Gladly, said the Emperor. I will build you a house near mine. You can be a great teacher for my people, and you will live a long and happy life. And this is what happened. Fatima, who had learned all those skills, who had remembered them, was now a great respected teacher. And she lived a long and happy life. So, This is the story of Fatima. Was the story similar to the story that you imagined, or was there some differences? What were the main similarities and the main differences? Please tell your partner.
I think there is going to be.
Was your story similar?
No.
Was your story similar?
Yeah.
Only at the beginning.
The beginning. Yeah.
Actually, we are at the end because we know that Idris will be happy and she will achieve what she wants.
Yes. What was your favourite moment in the story?
I think when
You are good?
yeah, when she, I mean when she gets her home and be happy because he faced a lot of problems and I think his life was difficult, so he wants to be happy at the end.
The happy ending when everything is resolved and she has what she needs. Who feels the same as Ahmed? The end is your favourite moment. Yes? Yeah?
Okay, that's fine. What do you want?
Nothing to worry about.
I made.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, but I mean,
Any other things that you wanted to say about the story? Anita?
For me, it's very interesting because she changed everything, the friends, her life, and she lost everything, and she became rich, not poor, and she took her felicità, her smile, happiness in the other countries.
Yeah. She brought her good spirit to the other countries. Okay. I love the fact that she has she learns these 3 skills and then can adapt and use those skills to accomplish what she needs. That's quite fascinating as well. That achievement.
Solution, always find solution.
Yeah.
I think these problems help her to face or to build his own life. Because if he's still in one place, he didn't learn anything.
Yes. Yes. These series of events made her the person she is. So even though she lost everything, in the end she's greater than she was at the start.
Traveling is a good experience.
And for me, this is also a story about migration. I mean, in the world today, there are more and more migrants who are having to leave their homes because of difficult circumstances and find new homes in new countries. And they face a lot of difficulties, they face a lot of adversity. And for me, Fatima is an example of a very positive story of migration, where she's welcomed. You know, she's welcomed again and again. She's brought to the heart of the community. And this is, I think, an important story to be telling at this time.
Yes. Okay.
It's lunchtime.
Okay.
Thank you very much indeed.